This is the F-105D, an all-weather single-place fighter bomber, powered by the highly reliable Pratt & Whitney J75 engine and capable of a level flight speed in excess of Mach 2.
The Republic F-105 Thunderchief wasn't born to be a dogfighter. It was built in the darkest years of the Cold War for a single mission: to fly low, fly fast, and deliver a nuclear strike deep inside Soviet territory. It was big, it was heavy, and it was unlike any other fighter of its day. On paper, the Thunderchief was supposed to blast in, drop its weapon, and escape before anyone could react. But history had other plans. Instead of a nuclear showdown, the F-105 would fight its war in the skies over Vietnam, where it became one of the hardest working, most unforgiving jets the US Air Force ever sent into combat. This is the story of the F-105 Thunderchief, and Part 5 in our Century Series jets. In 1951, the US Air Force issued a challenge. The next war, they believed, wouldn't be decided in dogfights. It would be decided by who could deliver nuclear weapons first. To survive, a strike aircraft had to be fast enough to outrun interceptors, tough enough to carry a heavy payload, and able to fly low under radar coverage. This was a very different problem from the ones fighter designers had solved in World War II. That's where Republic Aviation came in. Having built the famously rugged P-47 Thunderbolt, they understood durability, but now they aimed to combine toughness with supersonic performance. Their proposal was radical: a single-seat jet so large it blurred the line between fighter and bomber. Instead of agility, it would rely on sheer thrust to survive. Instead of multiple crew, a lone pilot would handle navigation, radar, and weapons on missions expected to be deep inside Soviet territory. By 1955, this vision had matured into the F-105 Thunderchief, an aircraft not designed for air-to-air duels, but for one grim scenario: nuclear war in Europe. The F-105 was, in many ways, a bomber disguised as a fighter. Its heart was a Pratt & Whitney J75 turbojet, producing up to 26,500 pounds of thrust with afterburner, giving the aircraft the ability to exceed Mach 2 at altitude and maintain supersonic speeds at low level, essential for striking deep into enemy territory. Its airframe reflected the demands of high speed, low altitude penetration. The fuselage adopted a Coke bottle shape to reduce transonic drag, while the 45-degree swept wings and tall vertical stabilizer ensured stability at both high speed and nap of earth flight. Inside the cockpit, pilots had access to advanced avionics for the time. Early systems included the AN/APN 101 radar and navigation aids, while the later F-105Ds incorporated the A9 bombing computer and improved instrumentation for all-weather precision strikes. Electronic countermeasures, including shaft dispensers and radar jammers, helped the jet survive heavily defended airspace. The F-105 could carry a staggering payload. 11 external hardpoints allowed bombs, rockets, fuel tanks, and missiles to be mounted, while the internal bomb bay, originally intended for a nuclear weapon, could also house fuel tanks or electronic warfare equipment. Defensive armament included the M61A1 Vulcan 20mm rotary cannon and air-to-air missiles like the AIM-9 Sidewinder, which gave pilots a fighting chance against enemy aircraft. Despite its impressive speed and firepower, the F-105 was not built for dogfighting. Its size and weight made it less agile than dedicated fighters, meaning its greatest strength lay in speed, payload capacity, and long-range strike capability. The journey of the F-105 began with its first prototype, The YF-105A, which took flight on October 22, 1955. Republic Aviation's chief test pilot, Russell M. Rusty Roth, piloted the aircraft from Edwards Air Force Base in California. Despite being equipped with a less powerful Pratt & Whitney J57 engine, the YF-105A achieved a Mach 1.2 in level flight. However, after 22 hours of flight time, the prototype sustained significant damage and was returned to the factory for repairs. The second YF-105A prototype followed on January 28, 1956. This aircraft featured aerodynamic refinements, including the implementation of the aerial rule to reduce drag at transonic speeds. These modifications, combined with the more powerful Pratt & Whitney J75, enabled the production model F-105B to reach speeds exceeding Mach 2.15. Despite these advancements, the early models faced several challenges. The initial YF-105A prototypes were not fully representative of the aircraft's capabilities due to numerous design changes made prior to production. Issues such as insufficient power and aerodynamic problems were addressed in subsequent models. In total, over 830 Thunderchiefs were built between 1955 and 1964. While not a massive production run compared to some Cold War aircraft, it was enough to make the F-105 a backbone of the US strike force for the next decade. The Thunderchief also set remarkable records during testing. It became the largest single-seat combat aircraft ever built, capable of carrying more ordnance than a typical World War II B-17 Flying Fortress. In straight-line, low-altitude runs, the F-105 proved faster than nearly any other aircraft of its era, showcasing the extraordinary combination of size, power, and speed that defined the type. The F-105's development didn't stop with the first production model. The F-105B laid the groundwork, primarily serving as a training platform. Its relative basic avionics and early systems made it ideal for teaching pilots how to handle the thud's size, speed, and demanding characteristics before moving on to combat operations. Building on that foundation, the F-105D became the definitive combat version. It featured upgraded engines, advanced avionics, and all-weather capabilities, including the A9 bombing computer and improved radar for precision strikes. This was the variant that carried the bulk of US bombing effort in Vietnam, capable of delivering massive conventional payloads or a nuclear weapon if needed. The two-seat F-105F expanded the Thunderchief's versatility. Initially designed as a trainer with dual controls and instrumentation, it later served in operational roles, particularly for electronic warfare. Its configuration laid the groundwork for the most daring missions the F-105 would ever undertake. That mission came to fruition in the F-105G Wild Weasel. These aircraft were transformed into flying hunters of enemy air defenses, equipped with advanced electronic countermeasure systems like APR-2526 radar homing receivers and chaff and flare dispensers, armed with the AGM-45 and AGM-78 anti-radiation missiles. Wild Weasels deliberately drew enemy fire in order to locate and destroy SAM sites, protecting other aircraft in the process. The courage of their crews earned the fitting motto, "First in, last out." Through these successive variants, the Thunderchief proved remarkably adaptable. What began as a high-speed nuclear strike fighter evolved into a versatile platform for conventional bombing, electronic warfare, and the pioneering Wild Weasel missions, a testament to both the aircraft's design and the ingenuity of the pilots who flew it. When the US launched sustained bombing operations over North Vietnam in 1965, the F-105 was thrust into a role it hadn't originally been designed for: conventional bombing. Its speed, payload, and range made it the backbone of Operation Rolling Thunder, where it carried out massive bomb loads deep into heavily defended enemy territory. Each mission demanded precise timing, careful navigation, and a willingness to face extreme danger. Flying low to evade radar, F-105 pilots contended with dense anti-aircraft artillery, sophisticated Soviet-built SA-2 guideline surface-to-air missiles, and interceptions by MiG-17s and MiG-21 fighters. The aircraft's design allowed it to fly at high speed near the treetops, but the combination of heavy ordnance, limited maneuverability, and intense defenses made each mission harrowing. A particularly infamous area was Stud Ridge, a stretch of mountains northwest of Hanoi. Pilots used the terrain to master their approach to targets, but it also funneled aircraft into predictable flight paths, making them vulnerable to concentrated enemy fire. Despite this, F-105 crews persisted, relying on aircraft speed, firepower, and resilience to survive. The N-61 Vulcan cannon was effective in air-to-air combat, and the Thud scored 27 confirmed MiG kills, remarkable for a jet built primarily for strike missions. The Wild Weasel variants introduced a new and terrifying mission: the suppression of enemy air defenses. The Thunderchief's operational record came at a staggering cost. Of the 833 F-105s built, nearly half were lost in combat, making it one of the highest risk aircraft in the Vietnam War. The high loss rate was a major factor in its eventual removal from frontline service, as the Air Force sought aircraft with better survivability and versatility. Many pilots viewed missions as life-threatening endeavors. A combination of anti-aircraft fire, missiles, and fighter interception meant that success required skill, precision, and a measure of luck. Despite the dangers, pilots reacted and relied on the F-105, and its ability to carry heavy payloads, survive punishment, and deliver ordnance under extreme conditions made it indispensable. By the early 1970s, the Thud was gradually replaced by the more versatile F-4 Phantom, though the Wild Weasel variants continued flying until the 1980s, nearly 25 years after the prototype first took flight, leaving a legacy of innovation, bravery, and operational effectiveness. The Republic F-105 Thunderchief was never built to be elegant or nimble. It wasn't designed for dogfights, and it certainly wasn't intended for the kind of prolonged, conventional warfare it faced in Vietnam. But history doesn't follow blueprints. What mattered is what the F-105 did. It carried enormous payloads across hostile skies, faced some of the most dangerous airspace of the Cold War, and pioneered tactics, like the Wild Weasel missions that would shape modern aerial combat. Despite high losses and its demanding handling characteristics, the Thud earned respect from the pilots who flew it. Its combination of speed, firepower, and toughness allowed it to complete missions that few other aircraft could. The F-105 proved that sometimes the hardest working, heaviest jets leave the biggest mark. It may not have fought the war it was designed for, but in Vietnam, the Thunderchief carried America's air campaign on its back, leaving a legacy of innovation, bravery, and raw power that still resonates in aviation history today.